Hey everybody, welcome to Crazy Tech Lab, and today we are checking out this bad boy here because this is the Zotac RTX 4070 Ti Amp Extreme Airo. So this is one of Zotac's flagship RTX 4070 Ti's. It's got this amazing looking Halo-esque cooler with RGB lighting and a huge triple slot design as well. So today we are going to be checking it out, seeing what it looks like up close, and checking out some benchmarks and coming to some conclusions at the end. First though, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor today is scdkey.com, where right now you can get some great deals on software such as Windows 10, Windows 11 and Microsoft Office. Even better news is that I have a discount code to share with you guys that will get you even more money off this software. So Microsoft Windows 10 Pro, for example, which is fully upgradable for free to Windows 11 if you want to do that. All you have to do is click buy now, enter the code CRT25 into the promotion code box, click apply, and the UK price, for example, will drop from £17 all the way down to just £12.76, and you'll see similar discounts elsewhere in other currencies as well. Once purchased, you'll want to head to your order page and copy the Windows 10 Pro key shown at the bottom of the page. When you're in Windows, you want to move your mouse over to the Start button, right-click, go to Settings, then Update and Security, and then move up to Activation, and finally, click on Change Your Product Key, copy and paste your brand new product key into the box, click Next, then click Activate, and your Windows 10 installation is now activated. Finally, you can do exactly the same thing with Office 2021 Professional by clicking the Buy button using code CR25 again, click Apply, and you'll get a hefty discount on Office as well. Thanks again to SCDKey for sponsoring this video, and you can see a whole bunch more links and discounts in the description below. So under the hood, what we have is an RTX 4070 Ti. It still has 12 gigabytes of GDDR6 memory, but there are some tweaks that Zotac has made to this Amp Extreme Edition graphics card. So first and foremost, the boost frequency has risen from about 2.61 to 2.7 gigahertz. So that's a substantial increase there. So you might see slightly higher frame rates in your games. It also has a dual BIOS, so if you're an advanced user and you want to kind of tinker with overclocking and all that kind of stuff, you do have a dual BIOS to be able to switch between BIOS versions and that kind of stuff. We also have, as you can see, a zero fan mode, so the fans will actually stop when you're not in a game or otherwise putting the GPU under load. So if you just want to kick back and watch Netflix or Amazon Prime, or you just want to do some work or something, then the graphics card will switch those fans off, and it essentially turns into a silent graphics card. And those fans don't usually spin up for quite a while, even if you're into a game, because this massive heatsink just absorbs all of that heat. The system's been on for a good like 20 minutes, and the heatsink is only sort of slightly warm. So that's a really, really good feature to have if you want a cool and quiet system. In terms of pricing, we have a price of around $850 at the moment on Newegg. You can see the link to that down below. And in the UK, we're looking at around £900 to £950, depending on where you look. So reasonably expensive for a graphics card, for sure, but it is very, very high end. We've also obviously got that 12 gigabytes of GDDR6, but you do have the RTX 4080 and the RTX 4090 that sit above it. So other features you might want to know about are the actual cooler itself. It does feature RGB lighting, and personally, I absolutely love the look of this cooler. It is enormous, and we'll get onto more of that in a second, but it does a great job of cooling, and you can also see just how large this cooler is. That does pose a few problems because we are going to struggle to fit that or this card into many cases out there, especially if they're small form factor, either because the card is triple slot or because of the sheer width of the thing, or indeed the length, because it is not a short card either. So I do love the RGB lighting though. The aesthetic of this cooler is really, really great. I'd maybe like to see a bit more RGB lighting on there for the money, but I do like you've got the kind of a ring of lights over the back here, and you've got this giant kind of holographic effect going on down the side. So very, very aesthetically pleasing, and we'll be looking at it up close in a minute with some more B-roll. So that's about it from this section of the review, and we are going to go ahead and take a closer look at it and come to some conclusions at the end. To test the card, I used the Rainbow Six Extraction built-in benchmark at 4K with all the eye candy turned on, and we're going to be focusing on the GPU temperature. Moving on to the benchmark results then, and on the left we have the results for the Zotac card, and on the right we have the results for a Gigabyte Gaming OC 4070 Ti. So two different cards. However, I wouldn't read too much into the actual frame rates, because I haven't found this benchmark to be particularly consistent, and as we can see there are some spikes and troughs in the benchmark results, but the average frame rate you'll typically see with the 4070 Ti between about 115 and 130 frames per second on the average, depending on the actual card. Now the Gigabyte card has a lower boost frequency, the Zotac card hitting about 2700 megahertz, whereas the Gigabyte card can only reach, it's not that high above the stock, so it's about 2650. So it is dealing with lower clock speeds, but it also does have a lower temperature. So the peak GPU temperature on the Gigabyte card was 56 degrees C, which is 6 degrees cooler than the 62 degrees C on the Zotac card. Now, one reason for that could be that there is a much larger rear opening on the Gigabyte card, which is going to promote airflow, whereas the Zotac cooler has a much smaller opening and a slightly more enclosed heatsink. So airflow is probably a little bit hampered. But then again, both cards were still very quiet, generating mostly the same amount of decibels. I think the Zotac card did wait a little bit longer before it spun up its fans. That's one thing to take note of here. And obviously you've got slightly higher boost frequencies as well. So running through a few more benchmarks, you would likely see some slightly higher numbers with the Zotac card. But overall, both cards performing very, very similarly overall, with the Gigabyte card getting a slightly lower temperature, and the Zotac card benefiting from a larger heatsink, which meant that it was able to keep its fans at 0 RPM for a little bit longer. So what do we make of the Zotac RTX 4070 Ti Amp Extreme Airo then? Well, I absolutely love the design of the cooler. First and foremost, I don't think there are many that look better than this in my opinion, but it is probably a subjective thing as well. You might prefer the sort of the blockier, straight-edged coolers, whereas this has definitely got a curvy theme going on. I do love the RGB lighting though. It's not too in your face. And there's a couple of bits over the back as well, so if your graphics card is face down, you will still get a little bit of eye candy showing through there as well. Now, pricing is kind of still all over the place, and I wouldn't want to spend, you know, $100 to $150 more than a base model 4070 Ti, because you probably won't see the benefits, certainly not in the performance. However, the cooling, the zero fan mode, the RGB lighting and the aesthetic of the cooler are probably worth a little bit more than a bog standard model. However, I don't think there are that many bog standard models of the 4070 Ti out there, because it is already a very, very high-end, very, very expensive graphics card. So for me though, The aesthetics are important if I'm spending that kind of money, and I absolutely love the design as well as the zero fan design of the Amp Extreme Airo. So it's a thumbs up from me. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and you can see the links to buying this product where you are in the description below as well. So thanks for Zotac for sending it over, and we will catch you soon.